And we're live again back here with the LFR Family Podcast, episode number 2. Got me and DJ here. This is LFR Brandon or LFR Jesus, whichever one you want to call me. You can find me at It's LFR Jesus on Twitter. We've got a little bit of a fun conversation I'm sure that's going to happen today. DJ, go ahead and tell us about yourself, and then I have a question for you before we go forward.
What's up, guys? It's DJ. You can find me over on the LFR Family Discord, or you can right here is my Twitter at PhotobombChamp. You can find out more about the meaning behind that whenever it's my time to explain on my episode, but that's where you can find me 75% of the time on Twitter, and yeah, I'm excited for tonight's episode.
PhotobombChamp, huh?
Yeah.
I always picture, every time I hear your handle, I always picture you in a whole bunch of celebrity pictures, just that guy that's just off in the background. It's just like the side profile of his face,
yeah,
standing in the background, looking up at the sky where there's nothing actually to look at. Like, that's fun. That's fun.
Absolutely.
Now, DJ, there's been some requests for us to open up a little bit more between the two of us. I think that will happen quite a bit going forward in the next episodes, and happen more and more over time. But I have a specific question for you.
What's up?
That goes along with today's episode. God, what do you think it's got to be like to be like 45 and an Eminem fan and still riding that hill?
Man, I think that everybody has
better than any age in an MGK fan.
Hold on, guys. You haven't been introduced yet, 45-year-old Eminem fan. Hold on a second.
So I think, I think you could say that about a lot of people, I mean, you catch on to something, that's popular in your youth, and you just try to hold on to those straggling few days that you have left,
Like sugar and diabetes.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, like even when you got it, you still want that Coke. Or you could drink sparkling ice. This podcast is not sponsored by sparkling ice, but it could be.
Mm-hmm. Or you start talking about the features that he's done and all the influences he's had, and that's just when you switched over to Coke Zero and Diet Coke, and now you're just getting killed with the aspartame slowly over time.
You're either going to have the diabetes or you're going to have the dementia.
Right, the brain tumors.
Yep.
Which explains a lot. Craig, how are you today?
So about our guest, Craig.
Well, I was good until that was the worst entrance to a podcast I've ever fucking heard.
What do you mean? That was perfect.
I'm 42.
Oh.
Same thing.
So right off the bat, you're wrong again about something.
That was a whole lot of head movement for a really not solid point there, Craig.
Hey.
We got Craig Harrell here today, which is a big deal in the LFR fam. We want to hear about Craig. Now, I hope you have more to talk about than Eminem songs. I hope you have your own personality, Mr. Fred Durst, as well. Just don't break anything on this.
I was raised by that, watching those videos and stuff. For a while I broke some stuff. I was wild. I was young when I got introduced to Eminem. Like, what am I supposed to say? I didn't know no better? No, I'm just kidding. I really love Eminem, and I like a lot of his older songs. I don't know if a lot of you guys out there know who I am. My name's Craig. I've been with the LFR family for a while, and yes, I came in on Eminem songs. Pretty much the LFR stan. Like, I got to defend him to everybody, and I will. And you know why? Not because where he's been, because he deserves it. Just like Kobe got re-signed by the Lakers because he deserved it. He deserves
Rest in
my
peace.
loyalty.
Rest in peace.
Give it to him. R.I.P. Kobe. We did it, by the way. Joe Reyes. We did it, by the way.
Shout out Joe Reyes.
Shout out Joe Reyes. Shout out LeBron James. Anyway, back to the podcast. Back to the podcast.
Hey,
I just want to address something real quick.
Maybe not today.
I just want to address something that I'm self-conscious about. My camera's here, but my monitor's here. So I'm going to be looking here most of the night. Just want to let you guys know. All right.
That's all right. It's actually a good look. I like it.
It's distinguished.
Because when you look at me, I get nervous, and I'm like, oh shit, he's talking right at me. What do I say?
And it gives it that official look. If you're looking in more than one angle, it's like there's a whole camera crew around you, so you just look official as fuck the whole time.
I think
it actually looks like you're talking to Brandon. Brandon just needs to turn the other way, and it'll totally look official.
Hey, that's
this is my semi-good side.
That's what I'm gonna do when I really want to grill like a guest. I'll just what's your favorite song?
We'll have to
the eye contact does it, man. Because like when somebody's looking at you, you get a little nervous and shit. You start being like,
you know what's great? You know what's great about this? There's members of our Patreon right now watching this live on Discord, which is a reason you should really join. And right now, I haven't figured out a way to get my microphone to work on Zoom and in Patreon without the possibility of somebody joining the channel and starting to talk and everybody hearing it on the podcast without wanting it to hear it. So right now they don't know what's happening. All they know is that every once in a while I go like this in the camera, and they have no idea.
I think that was my favorite part of watching the podcast, is wondering what you did say.
Yeah. I'm glad people said that, because I'm like, I don't really feel like somebody that needs to be heard, but I'm here, you know?
No, man, we want to hear from you too, man. We're interested in what you are. Like, so that's actually a great segment. I don't mean to take over the podcast, but what brought you to the
not Eminem or MGK. I like Eminem way better than MGK. Like I would download an Eminem song on my phone. Just saying. And none of that. Don't hit me with that MGK is a punk person now. Fuck that. If I want to listen to punk, I'll listen to punk. You know. Sorry, I think I just made a lot of enemies amongst the LFR family, but I still love you guys. He's a talented artist. He really is. I just don't listen to him. But rock, metal. He did I think I've probably told 10 people this already, but Van did a Trivium song as a car test. And that was the first video I'd watched of his, and I was like, man, this guy is crazy. Why is he driving and recording a YouTube video? I still think that to this day. I'm like, I've driven up in DC. It's rough. I don't understand how he does it. But
well, he listens to nice songs, so he doesn't curse people out.
One of my favorites was when somebody sent him the Sarah McLachlan song, and he thought it was going to be a banger.
That was one of the biggest trolls I have ever seen on his channel.
It was so great.
He was so bitter.
Hell no, this don't pass the car test.
You know what though? I got to give him credit for listening to the whole song.
He did.
Turn that off.
He did. He was true to it.
Yeah, so. He's committed. He's committed to other people's bad decisions.
Yep.
That's why Brandon's here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Hashtag Brandon is trash. That's trending on Twitter.
We got a podcast based on those bad decisions.
That's right. Now we spoke a little bit about Van doing car tests and traffic and East Coast traffic. Craig, let's talk a little bit about where you're at. Are you originally from California? You live in California now, though, correct?
You're born and raised. Yeah, moved out, but I've always made my way back.
And your current address?
No. Look, no. I've been all over California. I've lived all over, but mostly Orange County, Riverside area. So, if you know where Disneyland is, I've always in California lived within 50 miles of Disneyland.
I have no idea where that is. I did watch a documentary on Murder Mountain, though, good old Humboldt County, growing the world's wheat, doing God's work. I did see that once.
They are. You can smell it when you drive through there.
Humboldt County, the Murder Mountain.
Oh, that was good.
Have you ever been up to Northern California? I got family that lived up there in Eureka,
so I've been up there. A couple of times, flown up there once, but not like recently. Not in the last 20 years, probably.
Have you, by chance, ever been living it up at the Hotel California? By chance?
In the
it's a lovely place, from what I hear.
It's a lovely place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I've lived in Hotel California, but and it is really hard to get out, like they say.
Right.
But Yeah,
Anybody who just laughed at my corny joke.
Song. That's a good song.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah, it is a good song.
Right? That's such a good song.
It would definitely get taken down on a reaction. It would definitely.
Right. I love songs like that though, like Garden Grove by Sublime. That's so like, I know the song because I understand it, or when Snoop talks about Long Beach and stuff. What's that like for you guys when you guys hear songs like, because I love that, like when he's talking about Long Beach and 213 at Lewis, and I know where that is and shit, and I know how gangster that is. Like,
yeah, see, I can't relate.
Yeah, you don't see that. You don't see that side of California if you're not on the west side of the country, I would assume. When I hear California and think of California, I don't even think of like Disney, whatever. I think of like roads that are crooked and not efficiently made, and then I think of a lot of traffic and redwood trees, which I'd love to see a redwood tree. But like everybody knows about the gang life. Everybody knows about, like you hear about those things, excuse me, but you don't see a lot of it. And from the Midwest, it's kind of that same, I would assume that same kind of thing. You know, you talk about Eminem and MGK when they talk about being, a single dad in the Midwest, or the struggles of having a daughter and there's a real validity to a working class father in the Midwest. I don't know why that hits home so hard for a lot of guys here, and I'm sure there's just as many single fathers in other places, but that's one of the big things that drives the Midwest is that working class. Is I'm going to go and make my knuckles bleed and do whatever I need to do to provide for my family, regardless of what that means. So that's kind of how I relate to it, but I could never relate to California. I don't know if I could ever relate to California, except for my long hair, I guess.
It's probably not as different. Like, because what you described, like really, that's San Francisco. That's like exactly, the redwoods are across from San Francisco, so that's that upper California. Lower California is just, it's just like everywhere else. We have our slums and our good places, our bad places. It's just a regular city. It's just
but it doesn't rain out there, right? Like there's no rain. Everybody's got to be mad as hell all the time.
And
it never
then when it rains, motherfuckers can't drive at all.
Just in rain.
The rain, like it'll mist, and they're scared. They wipers on full blast in the mist. Like,
speaking of bad drivers, shout out to Maryland. Y'all suck.
I've never driven up that far. I've gone south, and I've driven to Colorado once, which was weird.
I worked as a claims adjuster for a company that I'm not going to give airtime to, but we would take calls from where I'm in Virginia. We would take calls from people in Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, and every single call was from Maryland. They get in so many accidents. They're rude. So when I see a Maryland plate, I'm like, oh, back up. I ain't getting close to him. He's crazy.
So are streets more like blocks where you're at, DJ?
Mm-mm.
Like if you were to look like it. Okay.
When
I grew up in Michigan, everything was blocks. Like if you got lost, make 3 left turns, you're back where you started. That's everywhere you went up there.
If you go to downtown Norfolk, it's like that. But that's, I guess, like every city. But where I'm at is like a suburb, so it's just, and like I live kind of like close to the North Carolina line, so a lot of like windy, ditch-filled roads out here. Like there's some really scary ones to drive down at night, but
yeah, where they're all state routes.
Yeah, and there's
that blew my mind.
Yeah, there's like always deer running out at you. So
yeah, when I moved down to Ohio, and people started telling me like, you turn left on 113, or you turn left on 58, or you turn left on 60, or what else? I'm like, what do these numbers mean? Like, are you telling me mile markers? They're like, no, route 2 or route 20 or route whatever. I'm like, what do you mean route? You know, like I'm from, everything is just like street. Like you got Van Born Road, or you have,
Yeah, we have a Route 58. It might extend to Ohio. I don't know.
Maybe they go forever. You'll have one road can have like 28 different names in Ohio, and there's at least 2 or 3 different numbers for it too, depending on how long it goes. It's really confusing to give directions out here.
That's like everywhere. They must have planned that bullshit.
Speaking of confusing directions, Craig, talking about music interests, I've heard you bring up Dolly Parton and Eminem. Kind of give us a little bit of direction into what goes on in your mind when it comes to music. Because I've known you for a while now, and I'm still really confused. I don't know if you're just repeating like #1 hit songs from Billboard throughout your life, or if they're actually songs that you enjoy.
I really like everything. Like, I'm not, whatever will tickle my fancy, actually. So Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar. I love that song. I'll admit it in front of everybody. I love it. Like, I've
never heard it. Can you sing it for us, Craig?
Watermelon Sugar. Hey. No, I can't sing. I can crack on people. So if you want to crack on my singing, that's on you. Like music, like my first song that I remember that I didn't hear from my dad. My first song that grabbed me was Billy Squier, Everybody Wants You.
Wow.
I know that.
Heard that song?
Yep.
Everybody wants you. That was my first song.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, dude, that was like perfect.
No, maybe. Maybe because I learned it to pick on kids down the street. No.
There you go.
Oh, you didn't catch the reference?
I'm gonna skip over it. So was it radio that got you into music, or was it influence with family?
Oh, radio.
Like,
or Telegraph. Telegraph?
Like, there were still 8-tracks and stuff when I was a kid, and it was on the records, and it was the radio, like, and a lot my dad. Like, so The Who, that's my dad's influence. And I love The Who. I'll back The Who as the greatest rock band of all time forever. I'll back that. Led Zeppelin's a bunch of cover artists. I said it out loud. Fuck all y'all.
Don't even mention them. Don't even mention their name. We might get taken down.
Right.
Hey, facts are facts. Look it up.
You're being reckless.
You guys can mute everything out. Y'all asked me to be on.
Yeah, this is one take. We don't do any edits or take anything out. So if you say anything that's off topic,
I'll own it. They'll come for my throat, and I'm okay with
we'll burn
it.
You at the stake.
I'll take that heat. That came from Craig Harry.
Whatever we're chanting as we're carrying our pitchforks.
Devil,
DJ,
if you're looking for the guy to talk to. So like the Who, Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin. I crack on them though. I love Dazed and Confused. One of my favorite songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be like War Pigs by.
We're running out of time.
This would be like
apparently.
a ride with my dad. So I'm just going on a ride with my dad. So then it would be like War Pigs from Black Sabbath. Iron Man, then it would switch over to like the Cult and the Cure, and so my dad and then the Beatles would get thrown in there and everything. So I kind of got I got used to listening to everything, and then rap happened, and I heard rap for the first time, and I loved it, because I didn't grow up. Okay, I was white, and I have whatever privilege comes with being white. Whatever that is, I may have. But I didn't grow up in privilege. Like, I grew up with nothing, and I'm all right with that. It happened. It's in my past. It makes me who I am. It makes me okay with the times that when we struggled, it made me better, because I was like, okay, I've been here before. We can do this, and this. And music's always kind of been there on the times that I fell apart. And it doesn't happen a lot. Like, it's not something that happens inside me a lot, because you guys have met me. I'm strong-willed, push through everything. You can make it through that. And I have my breaking points. It happened. One of the biggest breaking points of my life happened early on when the Discord first started. And that's when I I was pumping out that poetry because I was in my feelings, which are deep. I say I have no feelings, but my feelings are really fucking deep. And I was just in there processing alone and not knowing what to do because there's been a lot of I have friends, but not a lot of people that I can talk my feelings to in life. And that's really hard to do by yourself. And when I met you guys and started talking to people and like listen, hearing your guys' problems and you guys coming to me for help, it like helped me get through. It helped me get through those moments because like just hearing that there was other people struggling with fucking life and everything just seemed like it was fucking over with. Like it was it. I was like, I didn't want to stand up. First time in my life ever I didn't want to fucking stand up. Like,
well, music brings a lot in that. If you look at the requests that are coming from people, you're looking at requests that are very special to those people. So you're talking about, you know, finding this channel and music being a way to express yourself, and, you know, poetry being a way that you can get those words off your chest. All of those things lend us a very helpful hand in getting those emotions out when we don't have anybody else around us.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. This is the second part of our podcast with Craig and Brandon, LFR Jesus. If you probably just saw a little cut on YouTube, so it probably didn't seem like we were gone for that long, but this is actually 3 days later. Actually, it's not. I'm just kidding. But, you know, right now we're working with Zoom, so, you know, if you want to help us upgrade our Zoom account, you know, you can always send us some money. Anyway, what were we talking about?
We're talking music discussion and how those things bring us together and give us kind of an insight into how other people deal with things. And that's big on my music background. I think I've talked quite a bit about what my music background was growing up in an area where I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, and, you know, what kind of things am I into, what kind of messages strike hard with me. And Linkin Park was one of those bands, like you said, that I didn't hear from my dad first. You know, I grew up hearing Kiss and Twisted Sister and, you know, Guns N' Roses and all the classics, but the first band and first, you know, music that really caught me was Linkin Park. And it gave an idea to me. It's like, you know, I'm sitting on the bus in my seat by myself, feeling like a loser, and I hear this song in my little Walkman that I got a CD for Christmas, and it skips every time the bus hits a bump. But it was just so calming for me to hear somebody else express what it was like to not feel like they fit in, or to not understand what they're going through and that kind of stuff. And DJ, I know that you and I share quite a bit of influences when it comes to music. So let's hear about what you've got as far as your band.
I'm trying to think that far back, man. I'm like 30 now, so
just gets worse.
It's rough. And well, I love that my stuff is popping up on my screen. So, you know, this is a super professional podcast, guys. Just letting you guys know. I saved the recording from the last Zoom, and it popped up like it's done. But no, my parents were. My mom was into country music, but I hate country music, and like that's like one of the few genres that I'll turn it off nowadays.
Same.
My pops was a DJ, ironically. And so he had like he has a lot of music knowledge. Like he's one of the people that he can hear a song and like on the first note, like he knows what it is. Like, he obviously was doing that long before rap was a huge thing. So he's not like really versed in rap music, but like in 80s shit, man. If somebody was like, hey, you need to answer this 80s music question or we're gonna shoot you in the face, I would call my dad like right away. So like I like a lot of 80s rock and even like some pop stuff. I wouldn't listen to it, but I wouldn't turn it off. And a lot of my so fun fact, I have a twin sister. So a lot of the stuff I was listening to when I was younger, like I'm talking about single digits, was like popular like pop stuff. And then
ABBA.
no,
18s.
no, not that old. We're 90s babies. But when I was like maybe 9 or 10, I think I heard at a friend's house, I heard Linkin Park. I want to say that was one of the first rock bands that I heard. And also Disturbed was one of them too, because that was around 2000. Both of their big hit albums came out in like 2000. And my parents did not want to hear that shit, so it was always like I want to hear more of that, because I can't listen to it around them. And then I think my like big like I was always into like playing music. I was always in like the like I was in the orchestra in high school, like the good one too. It wasn't the one that the people went to just to fuck around. I was in like the good one. We played well. And so I was always into making music. So it kind of went from, I played the bass in the orchestra, like the big ass, like double bass. That's what I played, because they stereotyped me. I was large. Tom
and Jerry, the big Tom and Jerry bass.
Yeah, exactly. So when I hit middle school and I was like 5'7", 5'8" at the time, they were like, "Oh, you're tall. You can play the bass." And I was like, "I don't want to," but they made me, and I ended up doing it really well. But I transitioned from playing that bass to the bass guitar, and then I started listening to more music that was interesting to play on the bass guitar, which is metal, because that's really the only time that bass guitar is difficult. And
shout out Les Claypool.
Well, shout out, and not even metal. Geddy Lee is a good bass player. Anyway, that was kind of an influence. But now I play guitar and bass, and then from doing that, I got really into Guitar Hero, and a lot of the music I like came from Rock Band and Guitar Hero. I'll give them a lot of credit. That shit turned me on to a lot of shit I would have never listened to had it not been for them.
Some rockers on there.
Yeah, there's some good shit on there. Yeah, so that's my musical influence.
Man. Back when Rock Band and Guitar Hero was the main games playing, like what a time where so many families were just in the living room with a shitty little plastic drum kit and a chubby little fat
and
kid.
I became
I remember putting little like throw towels over the drum heads so it wasn't that loud, and being in my room at like 3 a.m. with little drumsticks trying to play Rock Band.
I broke like 3 of those, dude. I broke like 3 of those drum kits. I played the shit out of that game so much. Like I eventually went and bought like an actual MIDI drum kit and hooked it into my computer and into my PlayStation so I could use it and it wasn't gonna break. And it got real serious. And none of my friends wanted to play it with me anymore. They were done. My family didn't want to play it with me anymore. It was just me by myself playing Rock Band. I got to the point where I was playing the guitar and singing at the same time, just so I could give myself a challenge.
Was it Pepsi that they would give you codes
for
the caps for?
I drank so much Pepsi that summer.
Man, my dad, that's one thing shout out to my dad, Big O Pops, making things happen with that Rock Band game. I'd come home and he'd have caps and caps and caps and caps. We had every song you could imagine on Rock Band. And every time there was a family event,
my mom had
let's play some Rock Band.
My mom had a coworker that did that. My mom had a coworker that brought in like 3 bottles of Pepsi every day. And I told my mom, "Hey, get some. Can you get those caps?" And sure enough, I had songs for days. And it's good because I hate Pepsi. You know, shout out to Coke. Pepsi's not okay. And starting some controversy on the podcast.
Coke is better than Pepsi.
Coke is way better.
I don't know. Coke gives me this weird aftertaste in my mouth.
This is mine though. Dr. Pepper.
I'm cool with that too. I'm cool with that too.
Dr. Pepper's up there. They play both sides though, right?
Yes. They're an independent. Yeah, they're an independent.
Yeah.
Good for them. Getting that money.
Tech 9 of the soda drink.
My favorite is like when the store goes on sale and you can mix and mix and match Pepsi and
like
Coke.
He's trying to talk to us. Right. I know it.
Like right, like that's so I used to be able to talk really good. But when I had my seizure,
the best words, the greatest words. Nobody has better words.
Dude, so it took me a long time to actually talk confidently in front of people again because I bit the tip of my tongue off from my seizure. So I have a stutter sometimes because I get paranoid to try to say the words that I know I can say, but my tongue hasn't figured out where to land my teeth yet to actually enunciate shit properly. Drives me crazy.
There's enough adult activities you can do to work your tongue out that I think you can do just fine.
Well,
now
I got like 3 teeth, so it's harder.
Let's get back to music. 3 Teeth is a really cool punk band, by the way. So when it comes to music, let's talk about live music, because that's one of the big things that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about in music is they'll have their favorite bands, they'll have their favorite radio singles, they've heard this at a party or whatever. But and DJ, I know you've gone to festivals. There's such a huge tangible difference between hearing a band on the radio or on an album compared to seeing them live. And some of my favorite bands, some of the bands that I've looked forward to the most, have been some of the most disappointing things I've ever seen live. And then some bands that I would have never have given a chance to, or artists that I would have never given a chance to, have captured me in a way live, and now I consider myself a fan of their music, MGK being one of them. So if you guys want to talk, we'll talk a little bit about some live experiences before we close up the show. For me, Rock on the Range has always been my go-to. In my previous marriage, that was one of the best things that she provided to our relationship, was a weekend where we would go to a rock festival and get hammered drunk and just rock out. And that's where I became a fan of MGK. In that same weekend, 2 things happened. I saw somebody throw up from a band. They threw up off the side of the stage. It was the bassist to, I want to say, Every Time I Die. Yes, Eats It. Every Time I Die. The bassist was out there shit-faced, and it was a crazy show. Mosh pits everywhere, circle pits everywhere, and this guy's doing his little thing on his bass. You see him stumble over to the edge of the stage, put his bass down, and just puke his brains out. And he just pukes all over like the side of the stage, and then takes his bass off and just jumps into the crowd, and crowd surfs all the way back over thousands and thousands of people. And I'm looking like, this guy just threw up everywhere, and these guys are carrying him. He's probably got puke all over his clothes, but it was cool. And then later on in the day, I saw MGK, and it was one of those things where he was playing main stage. We wanted to be able to get a good position for the next band that was coming on after that. And MGK just put on such a phenomenal show live that I was like, I can't hate on this guy. So I want to hear kind of about what your guys' experiences with live music, and one of those situations where you saw something you never would have thought you would have seen, or there was an experience that just kind of opened it up to your brain to appreciate something you never would have appreciated before.
Craig?
Well, I was kind of spoiled growing up, because when I grew up, if you were a band and you didn't have a good live concert, you weren't going to make it. So I seen a lot of great concerts. The best concert, I would say, would be Aerosmith. Aerosmith was amazing. It was an amazing. It was Steven Tyler sounded exactly like the record. It was astonishing. I was young too. I was 15 when I saw them. I remember that because that was the first time that I saw a grown woman's parts, because she walked in the bathroom and flipped her.
I love the 70s too.
And I was like, whoa, hold on there. But like I would have, oh my God. I can't even believe I'm going to say this out loud. The most surprising would have to be Kenny G and Tony Braxton. Kenny G on a musical instrument is a fucking magician. That dude is amazing. It might have been, man, what was his name? Smokey Robinson came out and sang with him, and that might have sealed the deal for everything. But that was amazing. I
heard he blows. No, like into the instrument. But I need, you know what? I need to post edit some like into this.
Yeah.
Also,
I just feel like I'm in that moment where we tell our children about something and they look at us with a blank face. Like, I don't know what you're saying, because like even though I've heard these names that you're saying, I don't even think I could try to name a song or even hum a part of the song.
Well, see, and that's the problem with your generation is you don't appreciate the music that came before you, but you want to sit there and critique it, and you don't even
My
understand
generation, we understand that the typewriter did amazing things for news and for printing and for long form, articles. However, I'm not going to type on a typewriter in 2020, Craig. I'm going to use what's better and new.
You still use a car?
Yeah, but it's not a Model T.
There's no computer.
It's not a Model T, my friend.
Without the Beatles, there is no Linkin Park. It's the way it is.
I just want to say,
appreciate it all.
I just want to say that I do not participate in this slander. I didn't say anything bad about Kenny G.
I'm not saying anything bad. I just so far
he's great at playing saxophone.
Out of my radar. Yeah, it's so far out of my radar that I don't know enough.
It should be. You gotta listen to that. Like the Who. You know who the Who is, right?
Of course, yeah.
Like great transitioning bands, they listen to the Who because they're one of the greatest transitioning bands musically there is.
Mm-hmm.
So bands like Rage, Rage, right? Did you ever get to see Rage live?
No, that's a bucket list band for me, for sure.
Okay. That was good.
You've seen Rage live?
Yeah.
Dude, if I was close enough to
So you're like over here. I'm like, I lived through music, like real music, not this fake. I want to make money off my music. Like when I was growing up, music meant something. Yeah. Like the Who, they stood for something. They stood for fuck the government, just fuck the establishment. Maybe that's where it comes from. Why I love Rage, because they're the same thing. You reference
Rage, and that's my lane when it comes to that kind of music. Rage and Flowbots is another band that's a lot like that quite a bit too.
That's what drew me to him. Because he was the same way. He had mosh where he was like, fuck the president, do this. He chose to stand on his morals and lose fans over conforming and not giving his opinion or standing back and not saying anything. And then people want to trash him for that. That's commendable. Like to be able to say, fuck 50% of my fans. I'm going to stand for what I stand, whether you believe in it or not. And it's whether you believe in it or not, you have to respect that, because who's really going to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine throughout time, there's been artists that kind of do whatever brings the money in. And you see that happening a lot of times where like right now is a really interesting time in music where you're seeing more of a culture of dropping singles than albums. There was that cycle of every 2 to 3 years you'd have a full length album.
One hit wonders.
Not even one hit wonders. It's bands that are just rather than releasing a full length, they'll release 2 or 3 singles every year.
That's
rather than waiting 2 to 3 years for a new album, any new music at all. They're dropping 2 or 3 singles every year.
That's also marketing and financial reasons, because people are going to go crazy if they're a fan. Say you're a Eminem fan and he drops a single, you're going to go either buy or download or listen to that single right away. If he drops 10 songs at a time and like 4 of them are amazing and 6 of them are okay, you might not listen to those. So that's just because of the digital, like the way that music is. People don't buy music anymore. Like
it's so easy. It's like I feel music.
They're getting paid for streams and not buys.
Correct.
It's not appreciated anymore because it's so easy to get. You can get any music. Yeah. I like to hear the music I wanted to hear because I didn't want to hear the songs on the radio. I wanted to hear the songs off the tape that I liked and not the radio version song. So I had to go somewhere and buy a tape and either sit and fast. Like I had to work for my music. And
I think that's the closest thing we can relate to when it comes to our music experience growing up and early on is I also, and DJ, you too, we all kind of subscribed to a type of music that wasn't put on the radio. And that's a conversation that's going to grind a lot of gears. Is rock and roll has been dead for quite a while as far as, doing numbers and
as far as airplay is concerned.
Yeah, as far as airplay is concerned. If you think about it, what's the most recent household name from the rock and roll genre? And like to where every household knows it. It's got to be Linkin Park, right?
Of that or like terrible, like maybe Imagine Dragons might Maybe.
You call that rock?
I don't know if that's a household name. I think everybody's heard it on the radio. It's one of those things that have that kind of. I've heard this before.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everybody can pinpoint it. Like if somebody hears Linkin Park, it's Linkin Park.
Maybe, and I'm not vouching for them or saying I like them, but maybe Fall Out Boy. Is
for a specific generation, yeah. But people nowadays that didn't grow up on Fall Out Boy, they don't know about it. People that didn't grow up on Linkin Park still know Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Fall Out Boy was our generation, DJ. That was a groundbreaking. Actually, Fall Out Boy is one of those bands that they came into the pop rock kind of scene, and their label told them right away with Sugar We're Going Down. They said the guitars are too heavy. People are not going to listen to this. Like their own label said, they're not going to listen. People aren't going to listen to this because the guitars are too heavy. And we're talking about Fall Out Boy being too heavy. So rock and roll has kind of been turned a blind eye for a long time. And I think that with these singles, it gives the opportunity for those songs to really be paid attention to. If you think about just reaction channels, I mean, as we're coming up to the close of the segment with the LFR family, a big amount of subscribers from when I joined came during the Falling in Reverse little saga, where we did the band did Popular Monster and Drugs, and we did all those the Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse songs. And that's one of those bands that have been putting out singles for the last couple of years rather than full-length albums, and they have been absolutely blowing up on the internet. Everything they've done, I think, in the last 2 years have been just strictly singles. And Ronnie actually just leaked another single that they've got coming out soon, a few days ago. But that's one of those things now where when you have a culture of putting out a single, or you have a culture of it being streamed music, you don't have that same intimacy that we grew up with, where if you want to support the bands that we like, you have to go to the shows. You have to buy their merch. You have to do something physical, tangible there in person. Now it's just a click and a like and a subscribe. I don't think there's the same connection in music as
I will still, and this is because I grew up in that age too. Like, I will still roll over to Target or whatever and buy any new Metallica release physically. I will buy who else? Metallica and I think I bought Killswitch Engage's last album just because I wanted to throw them my $12. Like, I know that they, especially like in 2020 when they can't tour and make money, it's rough. It's real rough.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because
a quick little tip for people who do buy music like DJ like that: Target is a good place to do it. Target is the best place to do it. Target has the best exclusives. Many times they pay for extra tracks that they recorded during the process but didn't actually make the album. And if you go to Target, you'll get an extra 2 or 3 songs on it.
And I do want to say that this podcast is not sponsored by Target, but it could be if you're watching.
Yeah,
and our stores are only red and white. We're halfway there.
I got
you, Target.
I'm not gonna peacefully let myself get skipped over for the live music thing.
I got a question. What kind of podcast is this? Yeah. Can we smoke on it?
Yeah,
you can. Go ahead and take a little toke while DJ tells about his live experience.
So
Can we have me one?
My first concert experience that I can remember, I was dragged to a Shania Twain concert in 1997. And I was on the lawn, like far away. She was good looking. She was real good looking. But after that,
was Shania Twain the Let's Go Girls, or was that Reba?
No, that was Shania Twain. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then, but like again, I was like 7 at that time, so I didn't have like I was just there for the atmosphere. But after that, I've.
Hold on.
Oh, thank you. That's perfect for me. Yeah.
We're gonna get sponsored somewhere for them.
Cheers.
Shut the hell up, Craig. Let DJ tell his story. It's more riveting than anything you've said this whole hour.
Oh my God.
Basically rock concerts, rock festivals, metal festivals is what I went to when I was a teenager. Like I some bands that I didn't think I liked, but I turned out liking was Godsmack is really great live.
Yeah.
They do a drum battle, which is amazing.
Phenomenal.
Motley Crue sucked. I went for Motley Crue. They were terrible. Tommy Lee hurt his foot or something, so all he did the whole time, they had a replacement drummer, and all he did was hand out shots to the people in the front row. And then I saw Kiss they were with Motley Crue. That's why I went. I didn't go for Motley Crue because all their songs sound the same. And
because MGK played him in that movie, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Hush.
And Kiss was good. I'm not really into Kiss's music, but their live show was amazing.
Yeah. That was my first concert was Kiss.
One of the Mayhem festivals I went to that I clearly remember, it had Trivium on the main stage, and that's one of my favorite bands. And then it had Megadeth and Godsmack and Disturbed all in the same lineup.
Oh my god!
And
that was what, 2015, 2016?
It was 2011.
Okay.
Because I remember our show was the last show. The one in Virginia Beach was the last show on the tour, and Disturbed went on hiatus the next day. I also remember that Disturbed did not play my favorite song by them. Also, and I was very disappointed. It's you might know it. It's a song called "Stricken." It's one of their biggest hits, and they did not play it. They did not play it. I kept waiting for the encore. I waited for. They did like 3 encores because they were the main event, and then when they started playing "Down with the Sickness," I was like, I guess they're never playing that one because that's definitely the last song.
Maybe when you get big enough, they'll come and do a private show of that song.
Yeah, maybe they can join us on the podcast and do like a, you know how they do like for Howard Stern, like people play music for Howard Stern. But no, the some of the concerts that and this is a different side because I know we're wrapping up here because Brandon's got to get going and we've been on for like an hour now. 2 of the concerts that I missed that I regret missing, I didn't drive to Charlottesville, which is like 7 hours. I didn't drive there from Metallica when they released their Death Magnetic album. I should have done that. And I also
like that album.
I also missed Tool last year. Here's an admission. I wasn't really into Tool when Tool was big in the 2000s. Like I wasn't really into them. I never really listened, and I didn't get into it. I got really big into Tool like a month after that concert happened. Like now I'm like really pissed I didn't go. So
that sucks.
I'm a huge Tool fan.
Band, man. Tool is such an interesting band. And shout out to Maynard.
They are talent-wise probably the best.
He's one of the only people that is a public figure that can get out of the Me Too movement. I don't know how he did it. There was that little thing real shortly where they were like, he always has somebody go out to the crowds and find girls to go backstage and have sex with them.
Oh, Lord.
Maynard, obviously.
Because that's like, rock star life.
How did that work? He goes, I like women. Like it's like how did he get out? How did that? I don't know.
He's a rock star. That's you get a pass. You get a pass when it comes to banging women and you're a rock star.
I don't know.
I mean, look at Will Chamberlain.
That goes back to
10,000
the Metallica album where they had their artist ejaculate into cow's blood and put it in between 2 panes of glass or whatever it was. That was a thing that Metallica did, and they tried to play it off. It's like, oh, we were partying, Like, no, you were doing disgusting things.
That's fucked up shit.
I've been to plenty parties, and I've never
done nothing like that. That's the bullshit.
No.
Yeah. Hey, if you really want to... Yeah.
So, like, the bars around here, a lot of the bars around here, they like to do live music. So, like, Van always talks about the go-go music, so I get that because there's always a live band somewhere. Where you guys are from, is there always, like, live band bars and shit, too? Or is that just...
Well, keep in mind, I live right outside of Cleveland, where we have a home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So there's a big presence of venues out here in the Midwest.
There are some here, but they're not great. Just
I mean, you've got a couple stadium spots here in Ohio. You got a couple stadium spots in Michigan. The main intimate shows you're going to go to something like the Fillmore in Detroit or the Agora Ballroom.
Like just regular bars and like cover bands and shit. Do you get that?
Yeah.
In the bigger cities, right? Like if you go to Cleveland or Lakewood, somewhere around there, you can get that kind of stuff. But it's not something that people go to. At least where I live, if you're going to go to something that's not a major band or major concert or something like that, we have a good amount of comedy clubs. So stand-up comedy is kind of where that lane falls into around here. There are a ton of local underground shows that happen out here. But it's kind of a niche group of Ohioans that go to those underground shows.
Yeah.
But for the most part, your coffee shop stuff, your open mic nights, that kind of stuff is generally comedy out here.
Yeah. Well, in Virginia, about an hour from me, an hour and a half, is Richmond is the state capital, and they have a lot of shit going on up there. The metal band that you might have heard of, the metal band Lamb of God. They're from Richmond, and if they show up at a festival here, they get the biggest crowd reaction. I don't give a fuck who's with them. I went to a show where Slipknot was the headliner, and everybody was dead for Slipknot. But Lamb of God came on before them, and everybody threw all their energy out the door. And then when Slipknot came on, they're like, oh, yeah, great. I was just like, damn, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. But every time you go to a festival around here, if Lamb of God's on the ticket, all their fans show up.
Yeah.
So.
Quick brag. My cousin, who's a rocket scientist, huge Lamb of God fan. Talks to him like in lives and stuff like this.
Oh, really? Cool.
The lead singer, yeah.
That's
Gave
cool.
him a personal tour of JPL.
And we're running out of time again. How convenient.
Hopefully we get big enough to where we all get to tell stories about the people we've had on the podcast. Now, we'll talk about going forward. This was kind of more of a relaxed conversation that we hope to be able to do quite regularly. This is the idea of this podcast, to just be ourselves, be real people, and chill and have conversations where we can make connections. Make sure you guys, if you are not already, subscribe to the main LFR family channel. Go ahead and head over there. We've got a lot of new channels that are opening up. You're going to see a new channel for this podcast. We also have LFR Wild Boy. Shout out Chance. He started up his own channel. Go over to the LFR JoJo channel. And also LFR Naya just started a channel as well, which I'm sure is going to do phenomenal. Reach out to Naya. Tell her to get onto the podcast. We want to get her on here soon, as well as JoJo. So if you guys are listening, I'm sure you are. Let me or DJ know when you are ready. DJ, if you want to plug some of the Twitter handles, some of the Discord stuff.
Hashtag Brandon is trash. Plug that.
Hashtag Brandon is trash.
Just make sure.
And for everybody who don't know, I created Brandon, just so you know.
It's true.
Just so we're here.
That's debatable, but let's plug some things. Let's plug some things, DJ.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna want to log on to your little Twitter app, do your thing, follow myself and Brandon. Hold on, let me get my finger in here. Brandon's tag's over there. Craig's is down here somewhere. I put it down here.
Oh
somewhere.
Man, don't follow me.
Follow him, and then you're also gonna want to if you're not in our Discord, the link to that's at the bottom right of the screen, and if you're not part of the Patreon, the link to that's in the bottom left of the screen. And I hope I got those directions right. I'm pretty positive I did.
Real quick, can I? I've been talking to Van, and there's some big stuff coming to the Patreon. So make sure you guys get in there soon. There's some big stuff coming.
Yeah.
We also have a couple perks for the podcast. If you're on the Patreon, you're able to join into our Discord live channel and watch this broadcasted live. I'm sure we have a couple people watching right now. We appreciate you guys coming out and hanging with us while we do this live.
For sure.
You can also submit videos that we'll play during future podcasts, and also ask personal questions for DJ, myself, or the guests that we have going on.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I have a personal question.
Oh, look at that. We're out of time.
Where's that MGK tattoo?
I don't have an MGK tattoo. I did just get a new tattoo today, though. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can. You won't be able to see it. I'll post some pictures on Twitter if you guys want to see my new tattoo that I just got today.
It's a stepping stone MGK tattue.
No, I have no MGK tattoos. Maybe we'll get some matching ones when you come out to visit, Craig.
I'll get a MGK tattoo with you on my fucking word.
Mine will say EST, and yours can have some sort of frilly lace up done with some sort of.
Yours can say EST, and his can say PST, and he can pretend it's a time zone.
I'm gonna have MG on there. Let's just say we're going for it.
All right, we're gonna sign out as MG Gay here, Craig Harrell. We appreciate you coming out. We will talk to you soon. Like we said, make sure you hit up all those links at the bottom of the video here, and we will see you next week.
Peace
out, guys. We are all the LFR family. Hit that thing.